Hello there, Parroteers! Welcome to the first in my second video series called Nerd and Bird, where we examine the beakery and your geekery. For this first video, I decided to take a look at a bird Pokemon. After putting it to a vote on Twitter, you guys decided on the legendary bird Pokemon Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres. So let's get started. Being among the first 151 Pokemon, this legendary trio has made numerous appearances across the Pokemon franchise. This includes everything from the main series of games, to the side games, to the manga, anime, movies, cards, and even cereal boxes. If it's Pokemon, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres have probably been in it or could have been transferred to it. We'll touch on some of the big appearances. The legendary birds first flew onto the scene with the release of Pokemon Red and Blue, or Red and Green in Japan. Along with Mew and Mewtwo, they were the first legendary Pokemon. There's only one of each in the game, and unlike other wild Pokemon, they are not random encounters. The player would walk up to their sprite to initiate a battle. Each could be found in a different location in the game: Articuno on Seafoam Island, Zapdos in the Power Plant, and Moltres on Victory Road. Because of their rarity, defeating the birds without capturing them means losing out on the chance to have them. For many of us growing up with Pokemon, this made the legendary birds an optional, but memorable part of the game. The original games would not be the only games they would appear in. In Pokemon Snap, all three were eggs, and if the player manipulated the environment in the right way, the eggs would hatch, providing a chance to photograph the rare Pokemon. Like the main games, each was in a separate location. The tunnel holds Zapdos, who hatches with the help of an electrical attack from a Pikachu. Moltres' egg sits in your way in the volcano area. You can get this one to hatch by knocking it into the lava. And Articuno's egg can be found in the cave area, where playing the Pokeflute will cause a couple jinxes to dance, which leads to the egg hatching. Perhaps the legendary trio's biggest appearance is in Pokemon the Movie 2000, where the movie focuses heavily on them. In it, Lawrence III intends to capture all three for his collection. Acquiring them will give him the chance to collect Lugia. However, Lawrence's capturing of Moltres and Zapdos disturbs the harmony of fire, ice, and lightning, causing strange weather effects. While attempting to capture Articuno, the other two are released and engage in a destructive fight. Of course, it's up to Ash, main character of both the anime and movies, to aid Lugia in stopping the fighting birds. Clearly, these three have been around in multiple forms throughout the Pokemon franchise. But what are they based on? Let's take a look at some possible inspirations. To start with the most obvious, Moltres seems to take inspiration from the mythological phoenix. According to many interpretations, the phoenix is a large, brightly colored bird that bursts into flames upon its death. The phoenix has strong symbolic connections to fire, the sun, and rebirth. Though phoenixes and phoenix-like imagery appear in many cultures, perhaps the earliest known depiction of them is in Egypt. Ancient Egyptian art show a bird called the Bennu. According to legend, the Bennu was created from a burning holy tree within the Temple of Ra. Like other versions of the phoenix, the Bennu ended its life in a blaze as well. The new Bennu also took care of the ashes of the former bird by putting them in a myrrh egg to deliver to the city Heliopolis. The idea of the Bennu made its way to the Greeks, who gave it the name we know it by today. Legends of the phoenix, or a similar bird, can be found in everything from Hinduism to Christianity. And in popular culture, they're in everything from Shakespeare to Harry Potter. Given the strong connections to fire, it's easy to draw parallels to the phoenix and Moltres, especially since depictions give the phoenix bright orange and yellow plumage, much like the legendary fire Pokemon. Zapdos may take inspiration from the Thunderbird, an animal that appears in many different Native American cultures. Most legends describe the Thunderbird as an extremely large bird, big enough to carry a whale in its talons. It's said that thunderstorms are created from the flapping of its enormous wings. Depictions of the Thunderbird and its abilities vary depending on the tribe, with some saying that they are able to take the form of humans. Many totems and art of the Thunderbird show it with teeth in its beak. Zapdos seems to take more inspiration from the notion of the Thunderbird, and not so much its actual appearance. This Pokemon may have no teeth, but it can still deliver a good electric bite. Though it is a bit more of a stretch, Articuno may be inspired by the kingfisher. The German word for kingfisher, Eisvogel, translates to icebird, though this is largely due to the bird's association with fall and winter. In Greek mythology, kingfishers are called halcyons, but are also sometimes referred to as icebirds. One myth centers on the 7 nymph daughters of the king of the giants, Alcyoneus. When their father was killed by Hercules, the daughters leapt into the sea out of despair, where they were transformed into the ice birds by Amphitrite, the goddess of the sea. While the kingfisher and Articuno may not share a lot of similarities physically, they do share the light blue coloration of the common kingfisher. For one more bit of an ice connection, kingfishers dive after their main prey fish underwater. Though they migrate when the winter freezes over, thinner layers of ice won't stop the ice bird. They'll just dive on through. And that's all I've got for the 3 legendary bird Pokemon. If you know of more possible inspirations you think I should know about, let me know in the comments. And let me know what bird you'd like to see covered on Nerd and Bird next. Thanks for flying by.